days, when we do this kind of thing, we gotta start by washing our hands, you know what I mean? So we gotta get down and dirty, but before you do that, we gotta get really clean. Let's say a little prayer together, right? While we're getting ready to wash up, scrub up. Hope you're having a great day. Hope that the Holy Triduum is off to a good start. So let's start in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for bringing us here together today. Thank you for the opportunity to just be together with our families, with our friends. Lord, even though we're far apart by physical distance, we pray that you draw our hearts closer in union to you as we anticipate the Mass of the Lord's Supper this evening. Increase in us a greater devotion for love of the Eucharist and the priesthood tonight. We thank you for all your many gifts through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, so we're just going to make little adjustments as we go here. Couldn't tell. It's kind of our first time doing something crazy like this. So we're just going with what we can, you know? You guys remember like all the proper motions for washing your hands? You gotta do all the things. Don't forget to do all the things. A lot of friction, a lot of bubbles. Very important. And then we want to start getting our equipment together and our ingredients. So this being a Holy Thursday, I almost forgot. The other thing we got to clean is our workspace, right? So we're going to knead the bread or knead the dough out on our countertop. It's got to be clean. So I'm no Julia Child. I've never run a cooking show before, but I'm pretty handy in the kitchen, so we'll see how this all turns out. And I don't expect we're going to use this whole surface, but doggone it, the whole thing's going to be clean. So don't forget to wipe it all down, keep it clean, get the Lysol off your hands. So I did a couple of test runs this morning, so I've learned a thing or two about this. First, you want to remember we need some flour, some salt, a bowl to mix stuff up in, wet measuring cup, dry measuring cup. That's what I want. And eventually, I'm going to want this rolling pin. So, see if I can keep my clerics clean tonight. Can't remember who gave me this apron, but I like it because it's got Our Lady of Guadalupe on it. She's my favorite. Are they reporting back?
Yeah, we've got 70 people live.
All right, we got people live. They're watching. All right, so now we're getting really close. You're probably thinking, Father, I already got all this stuff ready. We're waiting on you, man. We're doing our best. So we're going to start with, sorry, let me show you. This is kind of where we're headed here, okay? Now these are test runs. I also call them mess runs because they didn't turn out awesome. These turned out a little dry. Right? So like listen to this real quick. Ooh, okay, a little dry. So I learned that you need a little bit more water in your dough, but they look about right. That's a little bit charred, a little bit dry, but I had a couple more mess runs that were a little bit better. And so I think I can steer you in the right direction, learn a few things from my mistakes. I said that's like one of the best ways to learn something anyways. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of flour. All right, we're making, and if you spill a little bit on the counter, that's where it's all going anyways. It doesn't really matter. This flatbread that's unleavened is very similar to what Jesus probably would have used at the Last Supper. And technically, you could use something like this at Mass because it's flour and water, which is kind of like the most basic bread that you can make. And then we're talking like a teaspoon of salt. Again, it's not super critical that you get that like spot on, I know about what a teaspoon of salt looks like in my hand. My hands are clean, so there you have it. You may prefer measuring spoon. I just decided to forego that part. And then we're going to want a cup of water. Helpful to have a little fork to stir things around. I like a little tea. A little decaf tea in the evening. Just a little hot. All right. So we're going with a cup of water. Looks pretty good. So at this point, we're not going to be too picky. You can just dump all that in there. And you just want to bind all that stuff together. All right. You'll notice that in this cooking show, nothing's like prepared already. There's no like ingredients and ramekin dishes underneath my countertop. I don't have one of those handy dandy people doing everything. Because look, like when you watch one of those cooking videos, you always have to hit pause, right? So you just want to combine all this, okay? Right? You're just trying to get things to start to bind together, start to make sense, and start to look something like a dough. All right? So here's where we're at, okay? You got a bunch of stuff, and it's sticky and it's messy. I heard it said that easy dough makes for bad bread, right? So it's got to kind of stay a little bit sticky, right? Otherwise, that means getting too dry, and then it's going to wind up like my mess test. All right, so we want to kind of lightly flour our cooking surface. If you've never done baking, you might be looking at that and be like, are you allowed to do that? Like, if I was a kid right now, I'd be freaking out like, Mom, Father Benjamin's making a mess. And you would be right. You're going to need a little bit more water along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a half a cup to stir in. I'm like second guessing my proportions now. I feel like I need to go and check my recipe. Can somebody comment on the thread, how much water did I tell you guys to have for this? Did I tell you a cup?
Yeah, that's what I told them to do as well.
But is that what I told them?
That's what you told us.
No. What is that? What I wrote in the description of the event? That's the real thing. There was better instructions probably somewhere else because this is looking really wet. And I think maybe I misremembered something. I think it's 2 cups of flour.
They're saying 1 cup.
And 1 cup?
1 cup.
Okay. I'm getting my proportions a little bit funny in my head because I only did a half batch this morning. Okay, so 2 cups flour, 1 cup of water. Is that that's what the directions said in writing on the website before this? Is that right? I'm the one who made it. I should know, but
I'll research it. Nancy says, slow down, relax. We're all good. Nancy's got your back, Father.
all right, Nancy, I'm slowing down. Not supposed to hurry. That's what the book study told me. So we wanted to be out here so we can play with it now, right? We gotta knead this. Oh, baby, you're supposed to flour your hands a little bit, so this doesn't happen, right? But this already happened, so we're gonna make the most of it. All right. So this is not how it went this morning. Isn't that funny how things go like that in your life, you know?
So Ellen says, in order to get ready, you will need 2 cups of plain all-purpose flour, 1 cup water, plus a bit more
Okay.
teaspoon of salt to taste.
2 cups.
2 to 1.
That's what we did. It's supposed to work.
Multiplied.
All right. We're going to keep going here. I feel confident. Not really, but I have hope. This is a very different experience than it was this morning. I feel like I need a lot more flour. It's extremely sticky. All right. My poor bag of flour. Oh my God. All right.
You're doing great. Looks delicious. Randall says more flour and ...
More flour. Yeah. Hey, brother Paul, can I get your assistance briefly? I just need more flour. This is like, I feel like maybe this is why the pros use mass instead of volume.
On here or on the side?
Yeah, wherever. Great. That looks like more manageable. It's like,
I need to get a close-up shot of all this, actually. Yeah, there we go. Let's get right in there.
I'm pretty sure that when Jesus sent the apostles to prepare for the Passover, that it was probably exactly like this. It's probably not much different than this at all. So, did everybody else's stuff turn out like this crazy? Are you in this kind of situation? Because this is uncharted territory for me right now. I was not previously in this situation. It's very hard to knead when it's this sticky. Brother Paul.
What?
Brother Paul, come quick. Bring help. Send for reinforcements.
More?
Yeah, thank you. Y'all, this is Brother Paul. He's my housemate.
Hey, everybody.
You guys remember the Franciscan friars? That's great. Who lived here and served at St. Joseph's? Well, he is one of them. He's a brother. Mm-hmm. And he works at St. Peter and Paul.
Yay.
I wonder if we have any St. Peter and Paul people tuning in. Probably not, but maybe. You never know.
No, we have 115 watching, so I'm sure somebody's
That's embarrassing. One of my favorite things is to look like a fool in public.
You have a lot of people having some good laughs in here, so you're doing awesome.
That's great. I'm glad I could provide comedic relief in the midst of this. Okay.
Paulina asks if you've already added the salt.
Yes, the salt was poured in with the flour before the water. So I'm gonna wash and dry my hands, and then I'm gonna properly dust them with flour before I try this again, because I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. Happy Holy Week, my people. That's like a whole flatbread right there. It's just glued to my hands. Did you know that flour and water, when combined at the weirdest ratios, make glue and it just sticks everywhere?
Katie Masloom says, Father, congratulations, you just made a wonderful batch of glue.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad everyone likes my glue. Maybe that's why they call it gluten. Huh? Anybody?
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Just gonna have some tea. I'm gonna relax.
We're all stressed out. This is helpful for everybody.
Too much fun, they're saying. It's fun.
Okay. I should have written out a script for myself. That would have been smart. Instead, I thought, oh yeah, I've got all this experience from one morning of cooking bread. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Okay. This all kind of doughy. I need something that's going to be a little drier. So here's the name of the game, right? We're looking for a certain kind of consistency of dough. All right, now we're cooking with gas, right? So you want to shove it forward, kind of with your palm, right? And then you spin it, right? And you just want to keep that going. And we're going to do that for 5 minutes. So you might be ahead of me. There's probably a good chance that many of you are ahead of me. Perhaps some of you are lagging behind. You just want to use the heel of your palm like that, right? As you need to. Incorporate some more of that flour. And the stuff that I read about this said that this is called kneading, and that develops the gluten, which I guess helps make it elastic and kind of stringy and gives it a little bit of bounce. The funny thing is, I thought we were going to need more water, not more flour. Here we are. So, why is the Lord's Supper tonight, right? Why is Holy Thursday? Well, it was Thursday when Jesus was doing this the first time, is the first reason, but also why this time of year? I'm going to put that out there as an open question to see who from our audience can help us out with some good catechesis here.
answers yet.
No answers yet. That's because they're all kneading dough, Father.
Everyone's hands are sticky. There's also about a 30-second lag between what you do and when it shows up for them. So
Gotcha. So you might be answering, you might not be answering, but I'm gonna start talking about it a little bit. It's Passover, right? So Passover, we're going back to Exodus, and we're going to hear that in the first reading tonight. Is the command that the Lord gives to His people about eating their meal like people in flight, and so not to put any leaven in the bread. Right? Because if you put yeast in the bread to make it rise, you got to wait around for a long time. And God had a sense of urgency for His people. He wanted to get them out of slavery now. His plan involves immediate response and obedience to the plan. Switch it up. Use my left palm a little bit. Really makes your countertop look awesome too. Stuff becomes like edible Play-Doh. All right, this is now pretty dry. I'm a little bit concerned now. I want to get a little bit of water incorporated, but that might be kind of tough at this point. I'm just going to give it a little splash.
John King says he wants to answer the question, but he has his fingers in dough. He can't comment on his phone right now.
How did he get that?
That's a good question.
Okay, now I'm a little bit stickier. That's kind of where I wanted to be. Not glue all over your hands, but just a little bit of stick. And that feels a little bit better. It feels like about where I want to be. Okay, now. Tea and stop, think, pause, and reflect. How about that? So we're going to need to heavily flour our surface.
Should we read that, Xavier?
Yeah. So Father, Christina Barinas says Xavier did the hand-to-hand throw and dropped it on the floor.
Oh no!
This is great. A lot of people are saying their kids are loving doing this with you.
Awesome. Kids, I love you guys. I'm so happy we're getting to hang out. All right. So this is supposed to make like 9 or 10 little balls of dough. They're going to be like a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Okay? Is what we're going to shoot for. And yeah, I feel all right about this. All right about this. This isn't so bad. Probably could be a little stickier, but I have a feeling that once I break these open, so you can kind of like pull and twist a little bit, and it'll tear. Oh, yep, there we go. There we go. There we go. Don't forget to keep those hands dusty. All right.
That's fantastic.
I'm gonna roll it up. You want to make sure you get like, all right, so a little bit bigger than a golf ball, okay? And we're just gonna pinch it into a little disc, a little dough frisbee, okay? And we got our heavily floured surface, right? And a rolling pin, right? Now, you wanna start like a little bit behind halfway and just roll it with a little bit of pressure. And you're gonna rotate it, right? And you do the same thing over and over again. So you push it, roll it, spin it, push and roll, spin. Push and roll, spin. Push and roll, spin. Push and roll, spin. So make sure you don't get stuck to your countertop. That'd be bad. I hope everybody's having a good time. I hope everybody's getting to spend good time with their family right now. I'm gonna start preheating my pan while I'm making some more of these. I'm going with a cast iron. Okay, cast iron skillet that's already well seasoned is gonna be maybe one of your best bets for this. I think medium heat is sufficient. Cast iron takes a little bit longer to preheat, right? It holds a lot of heat and it doesn't let it go, but it takes a while to build up in the pan. I did try also with kind of like your conventional modern non-stick kind of thing, and that worked too. It took a little bit more heat. It took like number 7 on my range, and my range runs pretty hot. You don't want to put anything in the pan. There's no butter in the pan. There's no oil in the pan. It's just, you're looking at it. That's what it's going to be. You don't want to roll these things out too thin, because then we won't get to enjoy that like beautiful kind of like stretchiness that comes, some of the chew. You don't want to like bake that out. All right, so I'm going to start making a few more of these. Twist and pull, tears, get a little golf ball, or big golf ball really, bigger than a golf ball. And now we're going to start pinching it into our little disc again.
We have a request for a close-up of your apron. So while you're pinching
Oh yeah,
and rolling,
here we go.
I'm gonna go get this angle too here. Madre knows best.
Our Lady Guadalupe hanging out in the kitchen with Juan Diego. I feel like it's my dream right there. It's perfect. So here's the cool thing about this, right? Is nature can't make bread. You know that? Like, doesn't matter what set of circumstances would come about in nature, it would never produce bread. That's why in the Mass we say, fruit of the earth and work of human hands, right? Sweet nature. Boy, I need some more flour on this rolling pin. A little pile to work from here. I gotta be careful, I'm starting to run out of flour. If any of my neighbors are watching this, so let's make a few of these discs. They don't need to come out like perfect circles. I haven't been able to achieve that all morning. Yeah, you want to try to keep it from breaking. You don't want there to be holes. So yeah, again, don't let it get too thick on you. That's bad.
Brian says, "Hi, this is Joseph. My brother Ben just ate a handful of flour."
Oh.
That's You have hello from Indiana. Becky from Indiana.
Becky, welcome to my Florida Rectory kitchen, Becky. What's the weather like in Indiana these days?
Kathleen says, "My kitchen is one big powder puff."
Good. I feel like I'm not alone then. It's like we might as well be in the same place right now, right? At least we're in the same conditions. That's pretty good. I'm going to leave this one a little smaller. I'm just going to see how that goes. See how that plays out. It's a little thick right there. You know what? Let's see how it goes. So you can try it, right? The other kind of thing is like, if you're anything like me, you haven't really done a whole lot of this, then what's wrong with like little experiments, like little variations? It's okay if they don't all turn out the same. They're not all going to turn out perfect. Every one of them is going to be a little bit different. I think that's kind of awesome, actually. All right. So think about wheat, right? Like you've got grain growing in a field, and the wheat gets harvested, and it gets milled down into flour, right? Like there's nothing in nature that's going to turn that grain into flour. It had to be harvested and milled by human beings like you and me. So something that's natural gets elevated by our humanity. It's kind of a cool thing. Anybody got a cool picture to share with the group out there? Are they able to upload photos?
I don't think so.
Are there any questions? If you have questions for me, even if they're not about making bread, because clearly I'm not the expert on that.
Looking for questions. Rosemary says, "This is great, Father Benjamin. We miss you, Holy Family."
Oh, I miss you guys too. Gosh. I've been joking with people. I thought I was going to give up my Holy Family parishioners for Lent. Well, then it turned out that I'm also giving up my St. Joseph's parishioners. Miss all of you.
Wendy asks if her pan is hot yet.
My pan should be pretty hot. You know what? Let's get a close-up of my pan real quick. Can you bring that camera over here?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm chatting with everybody.
Oh, chatting up.
Chatting away.
So if we just put a couple drops of water on that pan, it should sizzle and bounce around and dance like crazy, just like that. So that means our pan's ready. We've got, and it evaporates quickly. That's a good sign. So let's go ahead and make one of these. You know what? I've just got one dough ball left. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this process. I'm gonna be thorough, finish where I started. Nice thing about that cast iron is it can be hot and empty and it's not going to hurt anything. If you're not dealing with like something really robust, a heavy bottom pan, you probably don't want to have it just hanging around on the heat for too long like that. Yeah, sure, now you tell us, Father Benjamin.
A lot of trips to Target now to go get a new pan. Amazon at least.
Okay, we're getting pretty sticky. Pretty sticky. Pick up some flour here. Okay, you know what? That's also, it's not too bad. So I thought I was going to get a lot more. The guy on YouTube got a lot more. I'm okay with where I'm at. Clearly not YouTube ready. All right, so we're going to take this big flat pancake and we're just going to lay it straight in there. If you have like something like this is clean part of the sink, by the way. It was hand washed earlier. Go ahead and lay that in there nice and carefully. And you kind of want that side to seal, right? So it's going to kind of get toasted, and we're going to seal it. And that'll take just a minute. And once that's ready, we're going to flip it and we're going to seal the other side. And that's just going to help it retain some of the gases. So we want that whole surface to be cooked, so it's okay to push on it. This isn't like a cheeseburger where you want to keep all the burger juices inside. It's a different game we're playing here. Push on it good, and then after you feel like the other side is sealed also, flip it back over to the first side. Now we're going to let it sit, we're going to watch it, and you can see I got some good air pockets forming here. Man, this might be my best one. We'll see how it turns out. And it's going to smell a little bit like charring. That's not the worst thing in the world. It's supposed to have kind of some char marks on it. I was starting to think that maybe they were getting black. They're not getting black yet. We're in pretty good shape here. All right, so that's a pretty good start. For me? Huh?
Ooh, look
Huh?
at that.
Look at
Whoa.
that. You got a nice little pocket that's formed.
Pita time.
It's got a little bit of chew to it. Bro, Paul, you want to try some of my pita?
Absolutely.
Now, you'll notice not tons of flavor, right? We're talking about
Oh, yeah.
flour, salt, and water. But it's not doing this. That's kind of nice. Those would be great pita chips later.
Very good.
All right. So we're doing something right here, folks. Off to a kind of a funky start, and things are turning out. Go ahead and lay my next one in there. Press down so you get that good seal. Part of me would kind of like these to be a little bit chewier. I think of like Indian naan, but that's not what this is. But I would like to try that. It's a cool flatbread to try sometime. Turns out flatbreads aren't like impossible to make. Actually pretty good. And so you can eat this with something, right? Like feel free to grab yourself like I don't know, some kind of oil and herbs and salt and pepper, or hummus. Yeah, it'd be really good. I think that's sealed. Flip it back over. And now we watch. Hopefully we got some good air pockets for them. Let's see how they do. That one charred a little bit more. You see a little bit darker spots there. I'm not seeing the same kind of air pocket quality in this one, but
It's hot.
gets hot in that big cast iron skillet. It's not always a great idea to put your hand in there.
Don't try this at home, kids. Yeah, really.
I think I'm gonna drop heat a little bit, right? If it's smoking, that's not the worst thing. It's kind of normal. I want to use. I like that nice flat spatula, but it's plastic. I don't think it's gonna hold up very well in that cast iron skillet being that hot. So here we are. Stay away. Here's what this can be good for. It can be good for the top side. Just make sure we get good pressure on the top side. All right, got a good seal there, like that. So I definitely recommend staying away from the plastic cookware in this particular instance. All right, I think we were sealed there. All right, let's see if we can get another one to puff up. I want to go back to our first one. It was so good. Cameraman, you want to try some of this goodness? Look at that. Look at that beautiful elasticity. The beautiful elasticity. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Very good.
I dig it. All right, got some pockets forming. So you think about, you know, like a loaf of bread that we're used to eating. It's got flour and oil and butter and salt and baking soda and yeast and all these things, right? It's a good like Lenten bread, you know? Like simple, not complicated. I'm gonna really press on this one. I think if maybe I get a better seal, I can get those pockets going again. I'm really happy with that first one. I'm curious about those other two. Let's see how they turned out. Alright, that should be enough to seal that side. It's a good time to have like a proper vent hood. I haven't seen a place with a proper vent hood in a while. I think mine just sort of recirculates the fumes back into the house. Seems pretty silly. Yeah, I can feel some little bubbles on this one. I think getting that good seal, that's really important. Yeah.
Nice and close there.
This one's dancing a little bit, moving around some of that air. So tonight, once I'm done with this, I'm going to be going literally straight from preparing for the Mass of the Lord's Supper to the Mass of the Lord's Supper, where that thing that used to be part of nature, that was transformed by human hands into something that we call bread, is then transformed again, right? That it goes from being a natural thing to being a human thing to becoming a divine thing. And that's something to be celebrated. So I'm really excited that I get to be a part of that. I'm really excited that Jesus had this brilliant plan and this awesome and most beautiful way of communicating his love to us. And he would do it in something this simple, this ordinary, you know? Like, he could have done it in any number of ways. He could have brought attention and glory to himself by just like continuously doing things that no one had ever seen, or doing something that no one had even ever thought of. And instead, he lived in the world of nature, and he acted in the world of nature, and that's the beauty of, look at that big air pocket. And that's the beauty of that big air pocket, is that it's good, right? Like the Lord became like us in all things but sin, and he gives his blessing to ordinary things like food. He thought that food was such a good idea that he used it as the eternal sign of his covenant with us. And that's awesome. So yeah, get some good pressure on that thing. Try and get a good seal. This is fun, friends. We might be able to do something like this again, huh? Maybe we can like make some like really fun variations.
Earlier on, somebody asked you to bake a cake, so
You know?
the challenge has been laid.
I saw somebody. While I was doing my research, there's some people that made an unleavened bread recipe, and it was like flour. Actually, I think it started with butter. It was like butter and sugar, and then flour, and then eggs. And actually, no, I don't think there was eggs. Then there was like peanut butter and cocoa and everything, and like it was a cake. It wasn't unleavened bread. It was cake. But I did think it looked rather delicious.
That sounds good. Whoa, look at you go.
I love it when they dance like that.
Look at that thing go.
Dance for me, Brett.
Wow. Whoa. Look at those moves.
Just keeps growing. I'm having fun with this. Yeah, man. Good. Giant
It's impressive.
beast of a pita pocket. I'm sure there's people out there that are like way better at this than me, but I feel like I'm getting lots better as I go. All right, that's all the dough I have, so I'm going to kill my heat. I'm going to take my pan off of the hot burner so it can start to cool down.
Woo. Barehanded.
And here we have our nice little plate of Meat Pockets, flatbreads. That last one had the best air pocket. Kind of want to tear into it. What do you think? Yeah?
For it.
Yeah. So let's, kind of see this is where that big pocket was. Hey! And you know, like, honestly, this is taking me back to my trip to Israel when I was a deacon. On April 21st, it'll be 8 years that I was ordained a deacon. And so it was like a little less than that. It was December while I was a deacon. And we ate stuff like this every day over there. But Paul?
Yes, thank you.
So you can imagine
Very good.
at the Last Supper, Jesus taking bread, it probably would have been a lot like this, right? And share it with the apostles. It would look like what we're doing here, tearing this thing apart. Yep. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. Share it together, right? We make bread and we break bread. I know we didn't actually bake any bread tonight, but it sounded good for a title. And I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. Just kind of gets me a little bit in the spirit, you know. Jesus tells the disciples, go into the city and you'll find a man and tell him, I'm going to come to your house tonight for the Passover. And Passover was commonly held in people's homes, as far as I know. No scholar on that thing, but it would have been a very ordinary setting. And when you think about how awesome it is that, you know, we have an opportunity to sit down and share a meal together. That's the context that Jesus wants to meet us in, is ordinary things, right? If there's one thing that I think is like very beautiful about this time. Sorry, I'm like eating and trying to talk all at the same time. If you can't tell, I'm sort of enjoying the fruit of my hands here. It's just that like the most basic, simple little things in life are often the best. I'm really happy that this is bringing people together in a different way than it usually does. You know, I'll bet that you're having dinner with your family more than you usually do, at least for most people. Maybe you're one of those families, you're together every night having dinner. That's awesome. Keep doing that. Maybe you're a family who almost never gets together to sit down and eat dinner. When was the last time you made food together? You know, how many of you, like mom or dad is like the premier cook in the family and they do all the food preparation and you just sit down and scarf it down? You know, it's not only a lot of fun, but it's actually really meaningful to be able to share these times together. So, you know, I hope that when the world gets back to normal, that we don't forget to make time for these kinds of things. And, you know, and I say that for my own benefit too, because whether I'm going to have people over to make food with me, that's actually one of my favorite things to do. I get together with some friends and we cook some really good food together. But we could do that like this, and you could play along too. So you're in my thoughts, you're in my prayers always, but especially during Holy Week. So I'm going to go and start preparing my mind and my heart for the celebration of Mass, and I'll be bringing you all there together with me. I want to really encourage you over these next few days to, like, do not hesitate to dive into the Triduum. Thursday, you made bread together as a family, hopefully, or by yourself or whatever. You know, sit down and open up. You know, if you have a missal, you can even get online. We have a bunch of resources on our website. If you go to stjoseph.orlando.org, it's stjoseph.orlando.org. There's plenty of awesome resources on there for prayers and different things that match up with each day of Holy Week. And to be able to sit down and kind of break bread and share it together, and to do it in a prayerful and meaningful way. Tomorrow's Good Friday, right? We remember the Lord's Passion. Maybe keep things a little bit more solemn in the house. Find at least some time during the day where you keep things quiet. Tonight after Mass, we're going to cover up all of the statues and the images in the church. Maybe it's like you take down some of the framed artwork off your walls to keep the house, like very plain and bare, right? Like even the altar gets stripped and there's no more fancy cloths for it or anything. Think also about Holy Saturday, right? We keep the fast going from Friday into Saturday, right? So the same kind of fast is it's desirable for that fast to continue. Was it like? I'm just used to kind of like a bread and water fast. This is probably what I'll eat all day tomorrow. But what I'm thinking about is the requirements. Is it 2 small meals that aren't as big
Yes, right.
as 1 normal meal?
Right.
Something like that.
1 full meal and 2 others that are not equal.
That's right. 1 normal meal, 2 other meals that are like half meals.
Right.
Yeah. And no meat, obviously. And that continues this week into Saturday, right? Because then Jesus is in the tomb. And so we're quiet, we rest. I like to take a nap on Holy Saturday. Sometimes I lay down on my floor, right? Because it's not as comfortable as my bed. I just like imagine kind of like being united to the body of Jesus. It's just laid out, lifeless. And I mean, I don't think Jesus is really at rest so much in that moment because his soul is descending into hell. But just to like allow ourselves to, not be so frantic on Holy Saturday. And then of course we wait with anticipation for the Easter Vigil. And we celebrate with great joy on Easter. So make a point out of really entering in. Maybe Saturday night as you maybe pray evening prayer or night prayer together as a family from the Liturgy of the Hours. Some great apps out there that make that really easy. My favorite one is called iBreviary. It's iBreviary. iBreviary. It's I say breviary, but it's spelled like breviary. It's probably how you would say it if you were just looking at it. It's a wonderful way to pray. The Liturgy of the Hours is the second highest form of prayer in the church next to the Mass. Really cool thing. And it's the prayer of the church. All the priests and deacons and religious in the world and consecrated pray it every day, many times. But it's for everyone, right? So I have to pray it, but it's a gift. So maybe on Saturday night, praying evening prayer and or night prayer together, having some darkness and lighting some candles, reading through some of the sacred scriptures from Easter Vigil. There are many to choose from, and they're all very beautiful. They tell the story of salvation history. Ringing some bells and singing the Gloria to celebrate the resurrection at the proper time. Anyways, just a bunch of ideas on how you can continue to walk through this and make it tactile, make it tangible. All right. I've had a good time. I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining me in this. I'm really humbled and honored that you would bother watching me and participating with me in baking this really simple bread. But it's really touching to me. So I love you. God bless you. See you next time.